And so one of the things that we really focus on is making sure that we're building community in our classrooms so everyone can thrive. We are all mathematicians. And so today we'll talk about how can we get our kids talking when maybe they don't feel confident and safe to do so. Sorry.
All right, is there someone willing to read this quote?
I can.
Thank you, Kelly.
By integrating moments of reflection, positive interactions, and appreciations, we craft the climate and culture we're striving for. One in which everyone in the room feels they belong to a safe and caring community of learners where they are valued and able to learn and work together productively.
Yeah. And so a lot of times in math, we find that there are the kids that sit back, there are the kids that take the lead, or in classrooms you'll say, okay, you're gonna work with a group, go work with your group, and we naturally assume they have those skills and know those skills because we have been doing it year after year after year. And the truth is, they still need to be explicitly taught, and we really focus on the valued and sense of belonging and safety. We want them to be able to ask questions of each other, not just us, and to see each other as another way to strengthen and deepen their learning and their conceptual understanding of what's going on in math. And so that's how we're going to focus on it today.
When Krista and I were co-teaching together in mathematics, we had a lot of students who would fall into that category, super resistant to engage. And as we brought our classes together and we were co-teaching these 50 sixth graders, we started to see some differences in the way that they were interacting with math and with each other. And it's interesting because like we had teachers come over from the middle school and they would kind of, what are you doing? What's so different? Well, the truth is that we were teaching the same content as everyone else. It just felt different. And for a long time, we're like, what is different? I don't know what's different. They're just talking, right? We didn't know that it really came down to that building emotional safety in the classroom. And we didn't know at the time that it was social emotional learning. Okay. So how do you do that?
So CASEL is an organization that has really got us started on social emotional learning, and many states now have standards. Oregon's one of them, and we're asked to teach these standards in addition to our academic standards. And a lot of us feel like, okay, morning meeting, I can really address it, but how do we see it all day long? How has it become a part of who we are in our classroom community? And so one of the things CASEL has put out is they suggest, and the strategies work for us, and that's what we want to share with you, are the 3 signature practices. So when you begin a lesson, you're going to have an inclusive welcome. Then you're going to move into your lesson. Those are your engaging strategies. And then there's going to be an intentional close. That feels kind of formal, and I've been teaching a long time, so I haven't had to write a formal lesson plan in a long time. But at first, when I saw that, I thought, oh gosh, I have to break down every lesson this way. Well, it's actually best practices to do so, but we're going to talk about how to do it and what each piece really is like, and that it's not one more thing. It's probably something you're already doing today, just not intentionally.
So before we do that, we would like to do a quick welcome of each other. And we're going to do a stand-up, hand-up, pair-up. Okay, so Kristen, you want to come over here?
Yep.
So basically, in a second, you're going to find a partner that's not at your table. Stand up, pair up. Show us you're ready. And then you are going to talk about what does belonging feel like.
I feel like this is really high.
It is really
You
high.
don't,
And very
have to do
high.
this the whole time.
But yeah, especially for sure. So, are you guys ready?
Yep.
All right, stand up, pair up.
I didn't know that you were like you have a place in belong, you feel safe. And you feel included, and you feel empowered to maybe make a mistake or speak up.
Ooh, empowered to make a mistake. I feel like that's deep. Yeah, Megan.
My partner and I talked about you feel accepted and you feel like you are allowed to be who you are.
So when you answered that question, were you answering that question on how it feels to you? Okay. Would it change if we said, what does belonging feel like to your students? Or would you still describe it the same way?
I feel
Same.
that's the way, I'm sorry.
That's how you went
I
for
feel
it?
like that's how we discussed it, and I really liked how my partner talked about teaching the kids what it looks like or feels like, or how we should act when we're belonging, so they know that they feel safe, kind of set that stage.
Explicitly teaching them,
Yeah.
right?
It's pretty incredible what kids say. Now, this is a 6th grade classroom, but when we were talking about social awareness and sense of belonging, we highlighted the word belonging, and I said, what does that mean? And 6th graders said it means being accepted, being around people that get you, feeling and believing you should be there. And real quick, someone raised their hand and said, well, it's fitting in. And a whole bunch of, they're really good at the hand signals in this room. And
A
they're
lot of talk moves.
different idea. And they said, I feel like fitting in means you're trying to be like them so that they want you there. And sometimes we think that only happens out at recess or on their cell phones or wherever they are socially, but it's in the classroom. It's happening when we say, go work with your math team or your math group. And so how can we provide the space that is safe, where you are accepted? It's okay to ask a question. You're empowered to make a mistake, and that's celebrated. That is the game changer for allowing students the opportunity, or providing students the opportunity to access instruction.
So what you just participated in is what we would call an inclusive welcome. And when I first heard about this, I was thinking about like the staff PD, the icebreaker, that you're in this room, you don't really know anyone, and you have to go around and like find your soulmate, which is fine, that's a strategy, right? But you don't know the person, right? And you're sharing these things. And so I was at first like, oh, icebreaker? It's so much more than that. It's truly that ability to provide routines and rituals for your students that help them feel empowered, like they belong. We ask kids to bring a lot of vulnerability to academics. We ask them to share with each other, be brave enough to raise their hands. They can't do that if they don't feel emotionally safe. And whatever grade you teach, there are so many things that have happened before they got to you that could be a barrier. So the inclusive welcome, it's really brief. It's an interactive piece. You want to get kids talking. You want to make sure that it's including all voices. That's why we had you stand up and talk with each other and move, because like Krista said, many kids, given the choice, will just sit back. Adults too, right? But it's this piece where it also connects to the work ahead. So it can be fun. It can be a lot of variety of different short activities, but you want it to somehow connect to what you're going to be working on together. Make sense?
So many of you have been in PD with us before. Will you go to the next slide, please? So you have heard this, but this is exactly what we do here in our class on most days for an inclusive welcome to start math. And so we're going to play it, and if you are familiar with it, if you'll sing it with us or do your best. And I'll let you know when you start.
I actually have a really great video of your daughter in the front
Uh-huh.
jumping doing this.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
It's true.
I was like, oh, she's gonna
Actually,
get all of her confidence.
let us know. We can take it to her for her like senior year, her party. Yeah, get those voices ready. Hold on, now we have a little music ditty, and then we're gonna go.
You start us off for us.
I will. Okay, ready? We are learning
Come sit by me. Let's talk through how we solved it. We'll show our